We're analyzing Drift of Mist by Sherwin Williams, which is an airy, inviting warm gray that apparently...
I've never been on live television before.
It's one of the expert pick colors, so you know it's good, according to Sherwin Williams. I kind of think they would just have all of their colors be expert pick worthy, but I guess I'm wrong on that. This is a color that has been featured in several different color collections, including the top 50 colors by Sherwin Williams and their finest white and neutral color palettes. And a large part of that is because it is one of those pretty versatile neutrals that can be utilized with several different color palettes. And although Sherwin Williams recommends a few coordinating colors on their newly revamped website, they just low-key did that overnight, what I'm going to do is give you my own color palette of 3 wall colors and 2 trim colors to use with Drift of Mist. Absolutely free color advice. We just need a little payment of a click of the like button. That's all. It genuinely helps the growth of our channel, and I'm doing this full time, making 6 videos a week at this point. Oh my God! Wow! Truly a dream. Don't you want to keep that dream going? I feel like I'm guilt tripping you and pressuring you. No big deal. Let's quickly go back to the Sherwin Williams website because it looks way cooler than it did before. New year, new website. But even Sherwin Williams is telling us not to rely on-screen representations when it comes to paint colors. Always try and view a physical color sample to verify things in your home. And as convincing as I can be in these videos, I mean, I can't help it, right guys? You just need to pick a color that resonates with you and your home, so please, whenever you can, test a color in the space. But enough with the preamble. Drift of Mist sort of feels like a beige gray that can sometimes have the slightest hint of green coming through. And this picture that they used is a tiny bit misleading because of the fact that there's that pillow over there that's kind of this dusty rose vibe, making you think that it has those same undertones, but it's actually the opposite. And in practical use, it's very much just a comfortable feeling gray. So I try not to equate it to being green or even beige all that much. It's just a light, warm gray. You can kind of think of it simply put. How light, you ask? Well, we can go back over to the Sherwin Williams website and see the LRV, which is 69. This is the light reflectance value, which tells us that Drift of Mist reflects 69% of the light that hits it.
Nice.
Which also means it's pretty much a 69 out of 100 in terms of lightness or brightness. What does that mean to you? Well, it's light enough that you shouldn't be too concerned about using it in your home on the walls because it'll never really feel all that dark. I mean, it might next to like stark white, but generally speaking, paint colors that are 60 plus on the light reflectance value scale are in a good spot design-wise. It's also not light enough where you might think it's just white paint. The gray aspect will be noticeable. I really feel that Drift of Mist is main color caliber, meaning it's a paint color that I give my stamp of approval on to use throughout a home. If you were limited to one paint color, for example, and you wanted something really soft and subtle, Drift of Mist could be one of those colors that you can put throughout your hallways, your living areas, your bedrooms, bathrooms, wherever really. It would not be my first choice for things like ceilings, even baseboards and trim, or cabinets really. And also there's going to be a lot of people that want to use more than one color in their home. Well, not to worry because James is here to rescue you of a boring single color home. I got 3 other wall colors to talk to you about that you can utilize, as well as a light and a dark trim color option for some variety. And they're all by Sherwin Williams, and they all work with Drift of Mist. Starting with Dover White, which is a much lighter, brighter, warm off-white that is conveniently also part of that top 50 colors by Sherwin Williams. And it is a little more of an off-white versus just being pure white because of that large dose of warm creaminess present. You'll really notice a lot more of the gray in Drift of Mist when it's next to Dover White. So this gives you a more understated gray option and a more uplifting, brighter, warm white option. I find it helps to think of how you're going to be using this specific rooms that you're picking colors for, where maybe Drift of Mist can be a great starting point, kind of default color. And then in, let's say a kitchen where you want to amp up the energy by picking a warmer, brighter color like Dover White. That can help you decide which one to use in which area. Technically, you can use Dover White on your baseboards as well, but I do have a much more suitable choice at the end of this video that I recommend a bit more highly. The next wall color is darker than both of these and much cooler leaning in Breezy. I'd classify this color as a bit of a slate blue gray, and compared to the other two, you do see a lot of that blue coming through. This is the opposite of the last color because maybe you want a cooler color for a room to feel a bit more chill and relaxed and mellow and kind of soothing. That's what cool colors do for me, at least. Maybe rooms that you spend the second half of your day in rather than mornings. It also has a 41 LRV, so it's on the darker side of midtones. Just make sure that the amount of lighting is appropriate for a color this dark. And of course, if you're testing out your colors, you should get a good sense of that, right? But our third color actually has even more depth and therefore maybe requires even more lighting. But the payoff is worth it. It's called mink, and it's almost a slightly purple-tinged taupe that combines violet, gray, and brown. It comes in at a 21 darkness level, or LRV, and I would say this is a slightly complementary choice to Drift of Mist, specifically because mink is a little bit rooted in a more red-based warmth, while Drift of Mist has a complementary green touch to it, so they will really pop off each other quite well. Mink is honestly more of a gray-brown than purple at the end of the day, so it has a fairly neutral feeling to it, but it just adds a classy amount of depth and variety to the overall color palette. Now we got some wall colors figured out, let's quickly talk about the trim color options, both light and dark. And my light choice would be pure white, which is fairly pure, but it does have the slightest bit of yellow warmth present as well to make it a little more kind of homey, friendly, and familiar feeling. It's not much brighter than Dover White, the one we talked about earlier, to be honest, but it will feel more clean and stark in comparison. My dark trim color choice is for the more adventurous people watching, and it's called Perle Noir, or Black Pearl in French. You could call this a blackened version of mink, where there's a touch of brown, a decent amount of purple, and a heavy dose of black. Yet another slightly complementary color, although this time on the trim, so your baseboards or maybe your doors. A bit different from the traditional advice of sticking with the exact same color family, where maybe you would pick something that has a bit of a green undertone, like Drift of Mist, but I sort of flipped it here. I love the moodiness of this color. Here's the palette all together. Let me know what you think. And here's another set of colors that can hopefully inspire you and the rest of YouTube. Subscribe to stay up to date with our 6 videos a week. We're on a roll these days, I tell ya.